Welcome to the world's largest peace conference. We have pulled off something here. I think we have pulled off something that a lot of people questioned would ever happen. But I want you, if you stand up and look around the room, you will see the magnificence of Rotary at work with groups of individuals getting together for one common cause, and that common cause is to create peace and world understanding. So thank you for being here for this great event. Being here today kind of reminds me of a trip I had not too long ago where we were celebrating the annual Rotary Day at the United Nations. And we have that every year in November or thereabouts, and this next year it's going to be in I know it's going to be in Geneva. I just wanted you to stand up and tell everybody and welcome them to Geneva. But however, since you don't want to stand up, Mr. President-elect. But, you know, we've had that conference there for several years, and we're going to take and move it. But I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to visit the United Nations. Let me see your hands. So quite a few. But do you remember going out there and you remember out on the plaza of the United Nations, there's a statue. And it's a statue of a man with a sword into a plowshare. You remember that? Well, isn't that what we're here about? Isn't that what we're trying to do? That statue was inspired by a verse from the Bible, which most of you probably know, and it was created by an artist from the Soviet Union, which is a pretty remarkable combination when you get to think about it. It has a powerful message of peace that is a universal message for each and every one of us. But you don't need to travel to the Bible verse, you don't need to know what it says, but it means leaving war behind and building a peaceful future. Now, some of you may know that my father was a stonemason. He worked with his hands with care, with attention, and with the pride of what his work was. He built our family home, starting with nothing but a wheelbarrow and a shovel, digging out the foundation by hand. He came from Germany by himself as a teenager, looking for a better life. And he built that house himself, as I said, with his own hands, his own tools, and his own determination that the children would grow up better in a world than what he had. When I saw that plowshare outside on the plaza, I thought of men like my father, using tools instead of weapons to build a better future. And when you think about it today, and then think about it in that way, building peace ourselves with our own hands, it doesn't take much to have such a radical idea. It only looks like the only way we could ever be done is to do it ourselves. Peace is not built in congresses or parliaments. It doesn't get built by armies or presidents or even the United Nations building in New York. It gets built by people who care and are willing to work for the things they care about. Things like sustainable economic growth, human rights, clean water and air, sanitation, literacy, health. You need to have all of those if you want to build a community or a country or a world of peace. And all of those issues should sound very familiar. You'll find them in Rotary's 6 areas of focus, and as Bob and Karen have both alluded to here before. But you'll also find them in every one of Rotary's 35,000 clubs. Rotary members have given financial backing to microloans in Honduras, and our clubs have funded donations of livestock in Iraq, promoting economic growth in several areas. We're training nurses in East Africa and funding new schools in Afghanistan, ensuring the rights of children to live and to grow. And our Peace Fellows programs have brought police officers, faith healers, and young professionals to communities recovering from conflict, where they serve as living examples of the great potential of lasting peace. We've identified problems. We've equipped communities with the tools they need and empowering them to use those tools far and wide. This year, Rotary is exploring a simple theme. It's all that we strive to accomplish, summed up in just 3 little words: Rotary serving humanity. It's a theme that reflects the kind of work that we've been doing for 112 years. We bring our talents, our tools, and our time, and most importantly, our determination to address the most critical needs of our world. Many of you already know that our United Nations and all 192 of its member states have endorsed a blueprint for addressing these critical needs. It's called the Goals for Sustainable Development, a list of 17 areas where people of the world can come together to address the most pressing economic, political, and social challenges. It is a hugely ambitious list, and it has to be if we are going to create world peace and understanding. But the ultimate aim of all these goals is nothing less: peace, prosperity, security, and equality for all humanity. How do you even begin to tackle such a project? At Rotary, our answer is simple. You plan it out, you get to work, one step at a time. We're already working on many of these UN goals and have been for years. Clean water and sanitation. New wells are stopping the spread of infectious diseases. Quality education. Something as simple as putting functional bathroom facilities in schools improves health and increases attendance. Good health and well-being. Through our vaccination program, we are stunningly close to eradicating polio, with only 5 cases left in the entire world. The goal of sustainable development is building a resilient society, a community that can weather the storm and come back stronger than ever before. I know you've all heard that old saying that if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. But you probably haven't heard of this. If you teach a community to fish and help them to diversify their food sources, that community will eat for generations to come, even when they face the unexpected. So what's the key to making it happen? It's all right there in the word the United Nations used to describe those ambitious goals for our planet: sustainability. I like that word. I like sustainable because the meaning is right there. Able to sustain, able to keep going, able to do it correctly. Sustainability is about building for the long term and not the short term. It means that a well you dig today continues to provide fresh water 5, 10, 15 years from now. It means that a hospital you build becomes a center for health and well-being for decades. It means that the school with the new bathrooms becomes a launching pad for dozens of young minds to become informed and engaged in community leaders of tomorrow. Sustainability also means and being at the heart of our methods in Rotary. Our members make their business integral parts of the community. They contribute their brain power, their resources, and their time to solving the problems that affect the places where they live and where they work. I wonder how many of you are familiar with a great baseball player, Roberto Clemente. For those of us who love baseball, we remember him as a Hall of Fame player, a persistent hitter, and a fearsome outfielder with a precise and powerful arm. But in his native Puerto Rico, his countrymen remember him for a little bit differently. There, Roberto Clemente is a shining example of someone who rose up from modest means, yet never forgot his roots, and worked tirelessly to improve the fortunes of others. And when a devastating earthquake struck Nicaragua on New Year's Eve, he set aside the celebrations, and he even set aside his great career. And he risked his life to personally bring supplies to the people who needed them the most. He dedicated himself to helping others right up to the very end of his life. Today, Roberto Clemente is regarded as a hero. But I think that he would probably disagree. He would reject the title of hero. You see, he said something that makes me think of why we do what we do. He said something that reminded me of why Paul Harris founded Rotary 112 years ago. He said something about the obligation we feel to do good in the world, to make great things happen, to use our collective wisdom and willpower in the service of humanity. He said, and I quote, "Anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, you're wasting your time on earth," end quote. Every one of us here today has that opportunity to make a difference. And as Rotarians, we have the extraordinary tools at our disposal. Years of business and community leadership, connections in commerce and government, and this year, we celebrate the centennial of one of our greatest resources, the Rotary Foundation. For 100 years, our foundation has provided financial support for Rotary initiatives, enabling all of us to go out and to do good in the world wherever our help is needed. Laying down our swords is the only start of peace. Now's the time to pick up our plowshares. Now's the time to get to work digging wells, teaching children, banishing polio in the dustbin of history, building a society that will succeed and endure. Our time will not be wasted on this earth. Our time is now through Rotary serving humanity. Thank you.